What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Social Media Mindset. And today is a special episode because I will be being interviewed on my own podcast, which feels weird, but I will imagine that my guest today that is going to interview me and ask me questions is going to drop several knowledge bombs and provide us plenty of her own nuggets. Because for those of you that don't know Michelle Castle, she is a top 1% mortgage lender in the country. She always has a cute hat on and adorable glasses, and she just about loves people more than anyone I know. And so, Michelle, I'm thankful for your friendship and your willingness to come hang out and talk about my book with me.
Yeah, so I just finished your book last night, and I don't remember if you said it or I heard it from someone else. I think you said it. But honestly, reading your book was like having a conversation with you. So I feel like you and I have spent a lot of time together just in the last week as I've been reading your book. And because I loved it so much, I bought your book in bulk twice.
Yeah, you've bought a lot of them.
Yeah, and I've sent them out to friends because I think that it's so important for people to shine their light, to show people who they are, and just own your uniqueness.
Yeah.
You know, so many times we feel like what makes me different is really a shortcoming, and it's what people like.
Right.
And I'm always amazed whenever I figure that out. So I love that you're encouraging people to be themselves, because I think that we all just need to be reminded of that. So
100%. I'm glad that you picked up on that, because that's a big driving principle in the book.
Yeah. So it's an easy gift for me to give to others, to just remind them to not judge yourself. Just pick up the camera and show people who you are, because they can't tell who you are through words on a screen.
Right.
I mean, it's just not the same. So I am so thankful. But not only are you encouraging them, but you're telling them exactly how to do it.
I'm trying to make it easy on people.
It is. Just turn the next page and there's another way of doing it.
And I hope this doesn't sound like arrogant or prideful.
You couldn't sound arrogant or prideful.
When people hear this, but I really like, you know how for those of us that are believers, right? Like there's a Bible verse about how the Bible is living and active. So every time I open it, it says something new to me, something refreshing. It reminds me of something I knew, but I hadn't necessarily processed or leveraged.
Mm-hmm.
And as I wrote it, I was like, I hope this book will be the book that like you'll keep in your pocket or you'll keep in your purse, because in 4 months from now, when that high goes away and you're feeling bummed out or you're discouraged, there's plenty of pages in the book that should always serve as that refreshing whenever you need it, to just be reminded that like you're already enough. You know, there's nothing that you lack. So I don't know if it's going to accomplish that, but that was really the premise, was to provide something that you could come back to over and over again.
Well, and you know what's so fun is I have done some of that. Like I just flipped a page open right now, and it's got an exercise for me. Make a short list of who you'd like to know that you don't know yet.
Yeah.
And then the to-do, and it's just talking about being a connector, which ironically we're on this page and I am all about connection. I mean, I think connection and community is a big thing. And video allows you to do that. So rethink everything you know about social media. Good gosh, Kyle, you just nailed it. You just totally nailed it. And I love how easy it is to read. So talk about that. I mean, there's no fancy words. You're just like you're speaking, you and I.
Yeah, well, so all the people that I've talked to that have written books, right? So I can't speak for every author on the planet, but all the different people that I know, most of them write the book in some capacity, and then it goes through this very thick editing process where it's designed to read smarter. It's designed to, have more like fluff in it. I feel like so many books that I read, you could probably take out half of it in just stories that aren't necessarily impactful to the book itself. They're just filler stories. And so I wanted to write it with zero filler. Like, what do people need? And those were the only words that were going to make the page.
Yeah, go straight to
it. And if I were to tell a story, then it had to really make an impact. But then that's also why I added QR codes, because then I could tell stories that you could say that some of the videos are fluff, right? They're fun, they're enjoyable, but that's why they're a QR code. Mm-hmm. So they're not taking up 14 pages of a book that just keep thickening it up. But then the other part was, I'm not that smart, right? Like, I'm a former youth pastor that likes to have fun and makes up words and has never built my reputation on my intelligence. I'm just a fun, good person that people love to be around.
It's authenticity in a book.
100%. And so I knew, like, you and I both know Renee Rodriguez. Well, you know him much better than me. But Renee came out with his book late last year, and I started to read it and was like, this is way above my head, because Renee is as smart as anybody. He's as intellectual as anybody on the planet. And so very quickly into writing my book, I was already beginning to feel imposter syndrome of like, I can't try to compete with some of these other people that are doing different things than me. They're connecting with people on different levels, and God gave them different gifts and abilities than he gave me. My intellect was not one of them. And so I refused to use an editor, because I knew the minute an editor read my book, there would be red all over it. And strangers would read it and probably still think it was good, but my friends would read it and go, this isn't Kyle.
Yeah.
You know, and I think my book is the process of what we struggle with video, right? Is how many people do we know that in person they're awesome, but then we see their videos on the internet and we're like, ugh, who's this? This person sucks.
That's what I was going to say.
That's not my girlfriend that we were hanging out with.
Yeah, we'd be looking at this going, who really wrote the book?
Right.
Those are Kyle's principles, but these aren't Kyle's words.
So Coach Bill Hart, who you know, he wrote my foreword, and he sent me back several, like, he read the book before anyone else did. And he sent me back a lot of like grammar corrections. And I finally just had to go, hey man, I love you and I appreciate you so much, but like, I'm not making those corrections because I know you wouldn't say it like that, but that's how I talk. And I truly want people to go, man, when I read your book, I feel like you're sitting on the couch next to me. That was the goal.
And that's what I felt. Yeah.
And so it's been so cool so far for that exact reason, you know, because I feel like we're missing in the sales industry. We're so quick to try to sell to people that we quit being ourselves. And so I really think that over the next couple of years, like, I'll get really, really big opportunities, because whether people like you give books away or people stumble across it on Amazon, by the end of that book, they will think that I'm their best friend.
Absolutely.
And that was the goal.
Yeah. Well, and the congruency, like, they hear the tone, they hear your voice, and they feel like they connected with you and they get to know you. And if they went on social and saw something different, then that congruency wouldn't be there. And I think that that's really important. But you know, whenever you're speaking so passionate about this, you know, I'm all about core values. And so I just have to ask you, what core value do you think that aligns with? Why are you so passionate about that?
Well, I think for me, one of my core values that's on my website, so you know it's real, right? It's out there in the open, you know, is I don't do this for me, I do it for him. And him is Jesus. And so for me, like, my mission statement since I was probably 20 has always been to leave people better than I find them. Right. And I've had people say, man, that's very vague. And I think the power is in the vagueness.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because there's no room for selfishness inside of that mission statement.
Right.
Right. I want people to leave me better than they showed up. And so whether that's I walked past you at a 7-Eleven and I held the door open and smiled, and in that moment you remembered that somebody out there cared, or it's we've been friends for 10 years and we do life together. I just want, when I'm no longer on this earth, I want every single person to go, either I knew Kyle better than anyone and he made my life better, or I barely knew Kyle, but I still feel like my life was impacted positively because of him.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's very simple for me.
It clearly shows through in all that you do. And, you know, I think about, you were a former pastor. And, you know, you think you left the ministry, and you didn't. You just minister in a different way. You're still a shepherd.
I feel like I do more ministry now than I ever did as an actual pastor, because now part of the reason that I left church ministry was because I felt like everybody that met me was fake. the moment they found out I was a pastor, right? The moment you found out I was a pastor, you weren't dropping F-bombs around me. You weren't drinking too many around me. Like, you weren't telling me the story about how hungover you were last week. And I would go home and go, God, this sucks. Like, I'm not trying to fix anybody. I just happen to be a pastor. I just want to love people. And finally I woke up and was like, I can't make an impact inside these walls anymore. And so now I get to love people so much more and at a deeper level because they see me as normal now.
Yeah. I think truth is another word that is probably really strong for you.
Yeah.
You just want people to be true. Just be you. And it doesn't matter. You and I don't even have to agree. It doesn't matter.
Right.
We still respectfully love each other and we're speaking our truth.
I'd love your take on this. One of my really good friends, he owns a real estate company in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area. One of the smartest people I know. And he put up a post months ago that said, you should go find the most believable person who believes the opposite of you and go learn why.
There's so much beauty in contrast. I think that it's easier for you to see what is through the eyes of contrast. So I love that.
But it's sad to me because I feel like most people, because most of us, if we're not careful, we're walking insecurities.
Okay.
And so if I walk into a room insecure, your difference of opinion is now offensive to me because I am not confident enough in my own opinion to be okay with you believing different. And I think that's how most of our world operates.
I do too.
Whereas if I loved one president and you hated the same one, I could still be best friends with you, but most people can't.
No, but think about that, Kyle. I think that we want to be around like-minded people. And so you see people, breaking off into communities. You think about what even Facebook's done to us because that was the big push several years ago. So I think that people have all gone to their own corner, which has kept them from even remembering what it was like to have a conversation that was not you trying to convince me or me trying to convince you, but actually just exploring ideas and concepts and just having a conversation. I miss that. I miss that a lot.
Me too.
But you're right. I think that that's missing.
I want to adopt, I'm sure somebody's already said this, but I think where I'm at is I just want to be around like-hearted people.
Like-hearted people, that.
If you and I's hearts are aligned, to me, nothing else matters.
Nothing else matters.
We can vote however we want.
Yeah.
We can believe, about marriage the way that we want, about raising kids the way that we want. But if our hearts are aligned, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. My daughter and I were talking about an event she wanted to have that was just really, she's like I am. It's all inclusivity. Just being inclusive. I just want to be around people and I want to value our differences because I just think that it's just fascinating to me, our differences. So we were talking about something about having an event just called Love is Love. We don't care who you are, what you believe, how you live, what you think. If you feel love is love, let's just get together and just share some time, just break bread.
I'm at that event.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's for real have a love is love.
Yeah.
Because nothing else matters at that point.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. Yeah.
But it does.
Well, you know what? You and I will just keep speaking our truth because
that's right.
We all should be speaking our truth. And whoever is attracted to that are our ideal clients.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yep. One of the chapters in the book is just literally titled Love People. And I don't remember if I said it in the book, but I say it when I speak about it. I shouldn't have to remind us about that. But unfortunately, we live in a world now where we kind of forget to just love the people we see around us and are in line next to at the store and get cut off by in traffic. And that's is it called Love People? Okay, good.
Chapter 4.
People started asking, what's your favorite chapter? I'm like, oh my gosh, don't ask me that. I have no idea. It's these are my kids. I don't even remember what some of them are called. But that's it. If we would just love people.
Yeah.
Everything changes for us when we do. And our content gets easier.
Yeah.
Right, when
speaking your truth. It's easy. The words just come out because it's who you are. Yeah.
It's huge.
It's huge. You and I had an off conversation a while ago just in my business. You're not going to catch me rattling off well, the Feds met today and the Feds decided this and they're going to predict this and then we're going to see rates, because that's just not what I'm about.
Right.
I'm about the emotional process of making a decision to borrow money and, just the emotional aspect of, if I were to make a move, what does that do for me and my family when my schedule's already so busy I can't even fit in lunch, and now you want me to move, and you need what paperwork? That's what I'm going to speak about. If I were to rattle off all of this information that's not true to who I am, number one, it would take about 20 takes because it's just wouldn't flow.
And that doesn't make people that do it differently than you worse off. It's just different.
It's just different.
We both know really nerdy loan officers that they live in that world and they're unbelievable at it.
And I'll just share their content because I do it really well.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
If someone wants advice in that area, I know who to go to because they're on video, they're on social.
100%.
100%. I love that you followed your heart and did what is true to you and left it in simple, easy to read, but very tactical. Like I can look at any chapter and go, okay, I'm going to do this week. Kyle said to do this one thing, and that's what I'm going to do this week. And I'm just going to get out of my comfort zone and try it.
That's right.
You wrote it that way. And I love that.
So guys, we could talk about this forever, but we're not going to. And so go buy the book if you haven't already. If you want a bulk order of them signed for your people, contact me directly and I will get you as many books as your heart desires. Selfishly, guys, if you know podcasts that I would be a great guest on, if you know places that I would be a great speaker for because of what we're doing with this book, I'd love to know who they are. I'd love introductions. I never ask for anything. So this is my ask for anybody out there that may still be listening to this episode. But also, Michelle, where do people go to find you?
Oh, well, Instagram or Facebook under Michelle Castle or michellecastle.info online.
There it is. And so thank you, my friend, for interviewing me on my podcast today.
How fun was that? Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, guys, we'll be back real soon with a cooler person than me that'll have a really great story. See ya.